Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm here to give you guys my review of The Walking Dead Season 6, Episode 16, and this was the season finale of Season 6. So basically, how I'm going to break this episode down is I'm going to talk about what actually happened in it, and then I'm going to talk about what I actually thought of it, and then since it's the last episode of the season, I'll kind of talk about what I thought of the season overall. I'll probably structure all of my season finales like that from that point going forward, but that will be pretty much how I'm gonna cover this season finale. So this episode came out on April 3rd, 2016, and it's called Last Day on Earth, which fits the title. Um, and I'm not really gonna say how this episode kicked off because there were two main stories of the episode, and I mainly just want to talk about one of them, but I am going to talk about this next one. It wasn't really a minor story, but compared to the big story that took place, um, it was a minor compared to that. So I'm going to kind of talk about two stories at once, and because they're both connected with each other. So let's talk about first the Morgan and Carol storyline. So Morgan has still been looking for Carol. He actually found the guy's horse that Rick and Morgan tried to shoot down when he ran away. Well, we were supposed to. I mean, obviously, it was his horse because it connected from the last episode. And he's trying to find Carol. He finally finds Carol, and Carol's like, "I told you not to come after me." And Morgan says, "I'm gonna start to listen to you after I get you all patched up and everything." So they staying at a abandoned library, and Morgan patches her up, and Morgan reveals everything that's been going on since Carol left, and he tells Carol that because Carol had been shot, he tells Carol that when they go back, they're gonna give her antibiotics. He's gonna give her. They're gonna have her give her antibiotics and stuff. And Carol doesn't want to go back, and Carol says that at first Morgan thinks that Carol doesn't want to go back because she doesn't think that anybody cares about her, and Morgan reveals that it wasn't just me that came out. Rick tried to find you, and Dale, Rosita, Glenn, and Michonne would have come too, but they left before you were gone. And Maggie says that you don't get it. That's exactly why I don't want to be there. I care about everybody in that group, but I have to protect people in that group, and to do that, I have to kill other people, and I don't want to kill people anymore. So you really can't have it both ways. So. And she tells Morgan that you should believe that more than anybody else, since you don't want to kill people. And Morgan says, all I believe is all life is precious. And he doesn't want to leave Carol. Carol tells him to leave. She points a gun at him, and Morgan refuses to leave. And then, Carol begs him to leave too. So then Morgan doesn't leave. He goes out. There had been a zombie up that was hanging up on the thin in the library. So he goes out and kills it because this zombie was leading off more zombies to come. And when he goes in, he finds that Carol is missing. And he goes out and tries to find her again. And as he's looking, he sees that her necklace that she got from episode 14 is just laying on the ground, and he continues to and he I don't know if she put that there so that way if he tries to find her, he'll think she's dead by seeing that, but it didn't work apparently. And then Maggie is barely able to walk. She closes there was like this structure that a zombie was in, so she closes that, and then a zombie tries to come up and kill her. Not Maggie, sorry, I got Maggie on my mind at the moment for obvious reasons. Carol tries to kill it, and she's successful. Um, then I forgot to mention this in the last episode, but when she got into that shootout, one of the guys survived, and he's been trying to follow her, and he's been shot and everything, and he's not going to survive very long, so he tackles her to the ground. And Carol tries to reach for her knife, but the guy, I forget his name off the top of my head, but the guy holds him at gunpoint, and says that he doesn't have very long to live. Every breath is harder, so he wants to watch her die. So that's exactly what he's gonna do. He shoots her a bunch of times, and Carol's happy because she's gonna die, and it's all gonna be over for her. So the guy goes to walk away, and Carol preaches at him, telling them that you don't get to choose whether you want to walk away or not. The world doesn't decide for you. So the guy is gonna probably murder her some more, shoot her some more. Then Morgan comes up with a gun and tells him to drop it. He tries to do his whole spiel where he tells people that they can come back from whatever they're doing, and the guy doesn't drop it. Morgan kills him, and I like that they blew that off. So now Morgan's finally killed somebody. This is the first time he's killed someone since episode 4. So it'll be interesting to see what he'll be like in the next season, because it's basically you didn't really see anything else from him. And then the guy comes up with that had lost his horse, and he comes checking on Morgan and Carol, and he offers to help him, and Morgan and him shake hands. I like this part of the episode. I thought it was really good stuff. It gave you more of a background with Carol, and I thought, they did something with Morgan not wanting to kill anybody. He basically didn't kill the guy because he wanted to. He killed the guy to save Carol. I loved it. It was great. Then we get to the main part of the episode. Now, obviously, I've heard some conflicting statements on how people felt about this part of the episode because of the ending. Now, I don't know if I'll just say this. I don't know. Maybe if I had watched, because I have the ability to Netflix this and binge watch it. So maybe if I had been watching this live on TV, maybe my feeling about this would be different. But since I can just watch it on Netflix, maybe that doesn't make me as mad. So it's really tough to say what my feeling would be had I watched this live on TV. Because maybe my opinion would be different. But I'm going to talk about this episode, but this part of the episode, because I know this is what everybody was mad about. Because some people that binge watch it like this part of the episode. Some people that didn't binge watch it and watch it live on TV didn't like it. So it really is tough to say. But I'll just kind of talk about it. So Rick and his whole group basically going to go back to the Hilltop group because something's going on with Maggie, so she needs a doctor, so they have to go back there, and they take all precautions necessary since they know that they've been attacked by saviors every time they've gone out, so they're grabbing a bunch of weapons. Eden tries to go out, wants to go help and protect the group, but Carl doesn't want anything bad to happen to her, so he refuses to have her. He wants her to stay back, but she doesn't want to. She wants to help Carol. She wants to help Maggie, so Carl locks her in the closet. Well, not really lock her, but shuts the door and puts the chair in front of it. You see it all the time in TV comedies. And then she asks Carl what she will do if he doesn't come back, and he says just survive somehow. So I like that part of the episode. And then I like the part too where Rick said that he trusted Gabriel to lead the and protect Alexandria, because this was, I think, the final moment where Rick finally started to trust Gabriel, because that was the whole thing in this episode where Rick and Gabriel really didn't, and his whole group really didn't see eye to eye. Um, this part was symbolic that Rick finally showed that he trusted him. Um, then yeah, um, Eugene wants to go help protect the group as well. And at first, Rick doesn't want him to because he doesn't think he could handle it, but eventually they let him. And it's actually a good thing that Eugene did go, sort of. Obviously, there's something that happens. So they try to ride out and go meet with, and go to the destination with, to the hill climb group. And the Saviors earlier in the episode took somebody hostage. This is just somebody we don't really know. And they were going to use this guy as an example to Rick's group. So at first, Rick gets stopped by this group. One of the guys' names was Simon. I only know that because I'm reading this on Wikipedia. And Simon, I think Stephen Org did a great job as Simon. I thought he did a really good job. He played that role really well. And he, wants to make a deal with Rick. He tells Rick that they'll take all their weapons and they'll kill one of them. Because Rick just wants to go out. He doesn't want to fight these guys because they don't want to get the RV all messed up, and they don't want to get all messed up, and they don't want to get killed all messed up. So Rick says that world deal's not going to work for us. And then Rick has this whole speech how, and then Rick's group says the group's leaving, and then he asks Simon if he wants to make this his last day on Earth. Simon says, "Why don't you think about that? Why don't you treat your group as if it is your last day on Earth?" And Rick tells him to do the same. I kind of like that altercation they had with each other. So they have to find a new route, and Rick and Maggie just really not in good condition. So Rick's trying to continuously tell Maggie that they're going to get there. Aaron says he came out because he owed it to Maggie after everything that happened, and then Carl says he came out because he owes it to Alexandria and to the whole group. And they try to go to a new route, but then they get stopped by another group of people. So they turn around. The group fires warning shots, and they. And it was a different group of people too, and it was about 16 of them. So we were supposed to be confused about that. And then Abraham and Sasha are talking about having a kid because the whole storyline from I believe it was episode 12. I forget exactly if it was, but I think it was episode 12 or 11. I forget exactly which one it was because they both were in that same range. Abraham was having that talk about whether or not he wanted to have kids, and he finally, made the decision that he wanted to with Sasha. So I liked that part of the episode. And they try to go to another part of the group. I think this is when they got turned around, but I forgot to talk about this part. So then they find these zombies that have been chained up in chains, and they did this so that way they could barricade them, and Rick doesn't want to risk the RV by driving through it, so they were gonna go out and kill them, and we find out that they had symbols of Michonne and Dale, because we know they've been taken hostage, that have been on these zombies. We had Michonne's hair, like dreadlocks, and Dale's bow and arrows from his crossbow. So Rick's group gets in a shootout with the Saviors, and Rick has to chop one of the zombies' arms off, and they drive through it. And yeah, I thought that was a cool part of the episode. So they keep trying to go to their destination. It gets blockaded by a stack of trees that had just fallen down, and the guy that the Saviors were going to make an example out of gets hung off the bridge. So Eugene realizes that Rick's group, that the Saviors are, so that they want to bring him to a certain destination, but the Saviors are expecting the RV, they're not really expecting who's on the RV. So Eugene decides to take the RV and drive and make it think that it's them in the darkness, and they're going to go out on foot. So that's exactly what happens. And, you know, this was a good part of the episode because everybody trusted Eugene again because everyone looked at Eugene as weak. And Abraham finally trusted him. Rick finally trusted him. And it was a good moment for Eugene. And then, obviously, it doesn't really go that way. Rick and his group try to get to the place. And then we hear that whistle that goes off every time the Saviors are around each other. So Rick and his group try to escape. But then, when they get to the road, the lights go on. And we see like 100 Saviors. And they're all doing the whistle. So this basically means that the Saviors that we've been seeing and the Saviors they killed in episode 13 were just a small group of this big group. So that's probably the biggest group I've seen. And we see Simon. He forces Rick and his group to get down on their knees. And throughout this episode, we have been seeing somebody like they were coming to, like they were hauled up and hostage somewhere. We found out that it was Daryl, Rosita, Glenn, and Michonne. I think we were always supposed. I mean, we were always supposed to know that, anyways. We just didn't know what they were doing and what was going on. And yeah, they take all their guns, and then we get to meet Negan. We finally meet Negan. Well, we meet the leader anyways. We weren't supposed to know that it was Negan yet. And this guy comes out, and the actor was Jeffrey Dean Morgan, who did a fantastic job in this role. He made this role. He did awesome. He definitely gets props, because he took this role and really made it work. And he walks out with a barbed wire baseball bat. And yeah, he walks out and he reveals that he's Negan, and he wants to know who the leader of this group is. He reveals that it's Rick. And I loved all the lines he said, and I loved the way he just, like I said, made this character really work. This has to be like one of the best performances in Walking Dead, and this is only he wasn't even in a full episode yet. This was absolutely great. I think he's actually probably been the best character probably ever, but I think that's because I'm in the moment. I would have to wait to see the season play out more. And he basically says, I love this line when he says, I didn't really appreciate you killing my people, and I also didn't appreciate you killing my people for my people trying to get revenge for killing your people. I loved that line a lot. And he said that doesn't sit well with me, and you guys are now in tough shit. I didn't get but I basically got the exact quote, but that was pretty much it. Now, I didn't really, and Negan tells Rick that he wants half his shit. So basically the deal that Negan had with the Hill Climb group is going to be the same deal. And he tells Rick that they can try to fight them, but it's just but there'll be dire consequences, and you can try, and he tells Rick that you can try to. I just can't really explain this scene because it was just so great. You can try to, but he basically tells Rick's group that they work for him now, and Negan says that he's still got to kill one of them because they killed a lot of his people, a lot of people that he can't recover from. So, he even looks at Carl and takes one of his guns and says, "Yeah, that you have one of my guns now." And Carl just has this serious look on his face, and Negan's like, "Come on, at least cry a little." That was great. Then Negan is trying to pick which one to kill. He says he doesn't want to have to kill the future serial killer in Carlo. He was gonna kill Maggie because of how rough shape she looked, and Glenn tries to stop her, and then he even when he does that, everyone beats him down and stuff. And he even's like, now that's a no-no. And if I ever see something like that again, I will kill one of you. First one's a warning, but now there's no exceptions. I love that part of the episode. And Negan can't decide which one to kill, so he decides to use the eeny, meeny, miny, mo method. And I love the way this was, because this was supposed to build up tension. And when he finally chooses, he tells everyone that if they move or prevent this, they will kill. He will take Carl's eye out and feed it to his dogs. I don't know if he said exactly that, but that was basically the quote. And he hits this guy over the head. He hits one of the members of this group over the head. We see blood coming down, and we don't actually see who it is. We just see whoever he's hitting from their camera viewpoint. So, and then the screen goes black, and all we hear is Negan beating the crap out of this guy. And what I even loved about it was, typically in the credits, they played the music of The Walking Dead. There was no music, there was no anything. It just ended. And this, I could see why people got pissed off, because they had to wait a whole... Because this episode aired in April, and then they had to wait until October 23rd, like almost about a few months, to find out who it actually was. So nobody wanted... So obviously everybody was pissed about this. I look at it like this. So I'm going to talk about how... I thought the story was done really well. It was slowly built to, where Rick got into altercations with these group, and it was kind of like, kind of like a cat and mouse game where they were chasing after them. I kind of like the slow things they did. And then obviously when the group finally met, we finally saw who Negan was, which we obviously knew that Negan was going to be this big villain. And I like the cliffhanger. It keeps it makes people want to tune in to the next episode. And that's what you really want in your season finales. You want to make people watch the next season. You do something like this, where you get people talking about the show, and you make people want to tune into the next episode. I think it was a good idea. I think it was a great idea, actually. Now, maybe if I had watched this on TV, I would have thought differently, because I wouldn't be able to see who it is. But since I have the luxury to go watch the season 7 right away, so I can't really say whether or not that's a good thing or not. But yeah, that's basically all I have to say about this. That's everything that happened. What did I think of this episode, though? I thought it was probably one of the best Walking Dead episodes they've aired for a while. I thought it's probably one of the best episodes. I don't know if it's the best episode. I think the episode where the governor comes in and shoot his group and Rick's group gets in the fight at the prison's a close second. The season finale of episode 2, the season finale of episode 2 I think would be a better one as well. The episode where Lori dies, I would say, is up there. Yeah. Probably should have paused the video and stuff, but I'm not editing this video. I want this to be all in one take. I don't even remember what I was saying, but I was talking about the cliffhanger thing. I think I basically said everything I wanted to say with that. I also, like I said, I like the way this episode was structured. I thought it was great. I think I think. Oh, I was talking about if this was one of the best episodes. If this was the best episode. I don't think it's the best episode, but it's the best episode they've aired for a while. I think I can't really think of like a. I think it's definitely the best episode of the season, of season 6, anyways. But this was the best episode. I think they've. It's definitely up there. I think the first episode is probably better just because it's the first episode. But so if I had to rate this episode, I'd give it a 9 out of 10. It was fantastic. I love the way they did everything. Um, and I was okay with I was fine with the cliffhanger. It was great. Um, as for what I thought of this season overall, it was actually a really good season. I think this season really put The Walking Dead back on track. Um, because for season 4 and 5, it wasn't really all that special. Like, it was still good, but you could kind of feel like that The Walking Dead kind of started to dip in quality. They did a lot of episodes just for the sake of just to kind of fill time. I thought, and a lot of episodes were just filler episodes. I thought this season it didn't start off all that well. I thought the season premiere was pretty disappointing, and then I would say episodes 2, 3, and 4 were some good episodes, and then obviously 5, 6, and 7 were just there. Episode 8 sucked, and then I would say after the mid-season finale is when it really picked this up. So I would say it's not a great season because all the episode, but it's definitely one of the better seasons that they've done for a while. I would say probably if I had to rate the season overall, I would give it like a 7.5. I think it's definitely really good. It's the best season they've done. One couple of complaints though I have with this show, with this season, and I'll even say that this has happened for a while. The first one is that they have way too many characters now. I think especially now they have like 100 characters. A lot of them are going to probably be extras, but they have characters like Negan, which I think Negan's going to stick around for a while. I can't really say. And I think, you have Simon, you have Dwight, you have, like, obviously Rick and his whole group. Well, at least you're not going to have one of them anyways. Because we just don't know which one. You have all the group back at Alexandria. It's just, there's way too many characters to really get invested in. I think they need to cut back, especially since this is supposed to be a zombie world, and technically there's supposed to not be a lot of people, but yet they have a lot of people somehow, so I don't know. I also hate that it's kind of gotten away from the zombie part of this show. It's kind of mainly gone to groups and group versus group. I don't hate it completely, but it just seems like the zombies are kind of very secondary now. They're not really as big as of a threat as they were the first 3 seasons. I would even say, like, even season 3, even though kind of started to get away from it then, it still was a problem. I would say like season 4 and then every other and all the other seasons, they've gotten away from the zombie part of the season. They still will talk about it when they talk about surviving and having kids during that time, but it feels like they've gotten away from the zombie part of it, and I feel like that was kind of a mistake. I get maybe like they want us to feel like yeah, this is what life is now, but I think it was a mistake to go away from that. I could say you could still have this group stuff in there, but I would try to include the zombie part of it. Also, another thing I didn't really like about this season too is that I felt like it ripped off a lot of storylines that they did. They didn't really do anything new. They did the same storyline with Carl where he got shot and almost died. They did that in season 2. They just brought it back to season 6. They also did the same storyline with Maggie that they did with Lloyd, where they talked about pregnancy and everyone. The only difference is that Lloyd didn't want to have the kid, but Maggie actually wants to have it, and everyone's questioning that. But they basically just did the same thing, except we wired it up a little bit. So there was some stuff that they did that they ripped off from other seasons. I wish they would have done something new. And I think this Negan thing looks like it could be something new. So my thoughts on this whole Negan storyline that's about to come. This storyline should go on for a while, especially with the amount of group in there. I think this should carry out. If you want to, and go on for, I would say, do it in season 7. Maybe ended midway through season 8. I would say that would be when you end it. I don't think you should drag it out too long, but I think this should go on for a while because of his performance in just this one episode alone. Think about it. He was only in the episode 20 minutes, and he outperformed everybody. Even Andrew Lincoln. Jeffrey Dean Morgan, deserves it. I don't know if he did as good, though, as the character that played Eastman in episode 4, but he did great in this episode. But like I said, this is what I think about this episode. I understand some people didn't like it. Maybe if I can see what you were saying if you were watching it live, but I think this was a great episode. Actually, a fantastic episode. I even am interested to see what Maggie and Carol's and stuff reaction's going to be. How Morgan's going to react in the next season now, based on him finally killing somebody. So I'm interested. I'm hooked, and I'm going to watch the next. I originally wasn't going to even watch the next episode, but I have to know who died. I have to know. If I had to guess who died, I think it's going to be like a big character, because it would be really disappointing if they made people wait all that time for it to be like a nothing character. I think it's going to be somebody big, but I don't think it's going to be anybody too big. I think it's going to be somebody like Eugene or Abraham. I don't even know if it's going to be Eugene, just because of the fact that I think they're going to set something up with Rick and Eugene, because Rick looked pretty pissed at Eugene when he was forced to get down on his knees, because he trusted Eugene and he let him down. So I think it's going to be probably either Abraham or Eugene, though, but only time will tell. Let's see how the next season is.